At my daughter's engagement dinner, they toasted her fiancé's father. Then they toasted the man who left her when she was 6. Nobody said my name. I had raised her for 16 years. They had seated me beside the kitchen door. My name is Mark Ellis. I'm 52, and I run a 2-man electrical outfit out of a gray pickup with my last name on the door. I have wired half the kitchens in this county. I know which houses have good bones and which ones only look like it. People are the same way. I met Diane when Emily was 7. Ray had been gone about a year by then. He sent birthday cards with no return address and showed up maybe twice a season, always with a gift too big to carry and a reason to leave before dinner. I married Diane in a courthouse on a Tuesday. Emily wore yellow rain boots and held the rings. I never asked her to call me Dad. I was the one who drove, that's all. To school when she missed the bus, to the emergency room when her appendix went at 14, when her mother was 2 states away at her sister's place, and the school called the second number on the card. Mine. I sat in a plastic chair all night with her sneakers in my lap. The surgeon came out at 6 in the morning, shook my hand and said, "Your daughter is fine." I didn't correct him. There was a fall she wanted to quit college over a math class. There was a co-signature on the student loans, because a man who fixes panels for a living reads the fine print, and Ray's name, wherever it was not on that paper. There was a Honda with a rod knock that she bought against my advice, and a winter I spent putting it right on, jack stands in the garage while she handed me sockets and told me about a boy named Connor. That's the whole trick of it, if you want to know. You just keep showing up until showing up is your name. The engagement dinner was at Harlan's, the good steak place with the private room in the back. 28 people, cloth napkins folded like little tents. Diane had spent 2 weeks helping Emily's aunt with the seating chart, and I had spent 2 weeks telling her it didn't matter where anybody sat. I was wrong about that. Ray arrived 20 minutes late with a new wife and a bottle of scotch for Connor's father, the kind with a wax seal, the kind you buy when you need a room to like you fast. He hugged Emily long enough for the photographer to get it from 2 angles. Then he found his seat, front table next to the bride. My place card was at the back, beside the swinging door, where the servers came through with trays. Every time it opened, I got a breath of fryer oil on my collar. Diane leaned over before the speeches started. She said, "Mark, whatever happens tonight, please don't make a scene." She had seen the seating chart. She had seen where they put me. That's what she chose to say. Connor's father went first. Good man, Tom. He toasted love and patience and his son's luck. Then he did the rounds, the way toast givers do. He raised his glass to the fathers in the room. He thanked Ray by name for raising a daughter worth waiting for. He said the words, "her father," with the glass, pointed at the front table, and Ray stood halfway up and did a little bow, and the room clapped, and somewhere behind me, the kitchen door swung open and shut. I waited for my name the way you wait for a shot to hurt. Emily's aunt went next, her mother's sister. She told a story about Emily learning to ride a bike in her father's driveway. It was my driveway. It was my hands on that seat post. I remember the day. I remember the bandage on her elbow shaped like a butterfly. But the story had been rewritten, the way family stories get rewritten when the truth sits at the wrong table. She lifted her glass to the men who made Emily who she is. The room looked at Ray. Ray looked humble. He'd been practicing. 2 toasts, 2 fathers in the room if you counted the one who mailed cards. Nobody counted the one by the kitchen door. I wasn't angry. What I felt was quieter and worse. It was the feeling of doing the math on 16 years and realizing the number they had carried was 0. I stood up, not to speak. I stood up because there's a point past which sitting still becomes its own kind of lying, and I had reached it. In my jacket pocket was an envelope, cream-colored, a little bent at one corner from riding around in my truck for a week, Emily's name on the front in my handwriting, which is ugly because electricians write on drywall, standing up in the dark. I had planned to give it to her at the end of the night, quietly, in the parking lot. It was meant for later anyway. It was meant for her wedding day. The cake came out. Everybody watched the cake. I walked to the head table on the service side, past the champagne bucket, and I set the envelope against her water glass where she would find it. She was laughing at something Connor said. She didn't see me. That was fine. 16 years teaches you how not to be seen. Then I walked out through the front, thanked the girl at the podium, and sat in my truck in the lot with the window down. I want to be clear about one thing. I wasn't leaving her. I was leaving them. There is a difference, and that night I was still learning it. Inside the envelope was a letter I had written in pencil first and then in pen, 4 drafts, because a man should be exact where it matters. And folded up inside the letter was a drawing. 3rd grade. A stick man in brown work boots standing next to a ladder, holding what I've always chosen to believe is a flashlight. Across the top, in fat crayon letters, it said, "My Dad." She drew it at the kitchen table one October while I replaced the light over her head, and I've carried it in my wallet for 15 years, folded down to the size of a credit card. The crease lines are white now. You can barely read the Y. The letter said, what I'm going to tell you now, more or less, because I know it by heart. Emily, blood is a fact. It isn't a promise. Blood will not hold the ladder when you climb, and it will not sit in the hallway while they take your appendix out, and it will not read a loan document twice. Those things get done by whoever stays. I am not writing this to take anything from anyone. I am writing it so that on the day you walk toward that boy, you know that if you ever need a hand on the ladder, mine is free. It has been free for 16 years. It stays free. Love, Mark. And then, because I couldn't help myself, P.S. The Honda needs the oil done in March. Don't let Connor do it. I found out what happened next from Diane and from Connor, and from a room full of people who have told it so many times now it has become the family story. Emily found the envelope when they poured the coffee. She read it once, sitting down with her thumb over the drawing. Then she was on her feet with a fork in her hand, tapping her glass until the talk stopped. She said, "We've heard from every father in this room tonight." She said, "Almost every." She read them the part about the ladder. She read it slowly, and her voice broke on the word appendix of all words, and she pressed the drawing flat in the tablecloth so the candles lit it up. Stick man. Boots. Ladder. My dad in letters the color of a school bus. Then she said, 16 years ago a man moved into our house and never once asked me to call him Dad. So I would like to correct the record on who made me who I am. And she named me. In front of the caterers, in front of the photographer, in front of Ray and his scotch. She said, "That's my father, and right now his seat is empty because we let it be." Ray stood up. He said, "Emily, honey, I'm still your dad." She looked at him for a second. People who were there say it was longer. Then she said, "Ray, you're part of my life. But Mark raised me. He's my dad, and tonight I'm saying his name." And Connor, God bless him, raised his glass and said, "You heard her, Ray. She came and got me herself, out the front door, across the lot in the good shoes, in October. She stood by the truck window like a state trooper and said, 'You left something at the table.' I said, 'It was for later.' She said, 'It's later, Dad. Come inside.' I want to be fair here, because this story gets told sweet, and it wasn't all sweet. My wife met me at the door of that room. Diane took my sleeve and she said, 'I saw where they seated you. I asked you not to make a scene. And then I watched them hand the whole evening to a man who mails birthday cards, and I said nothing. I picked the wrong thing to be afraid of. She has apologized since. I have let her. Marriages are wiring too. You find the fault, you fix the run, you don't burn the house down over one bad splice. They redid the toast with me standing at the front table. Tom did it himself, glass up, and this time he said both names, mine first. The kitchen door kept swinging behind the room. I've never minded that sound since. 1 year later, on a Saturday with weather you would order from a catalog, Ray was there, 3 rows back. Emily took my arm, and I walked her down the aisle. On the gift table, between the card box and the champagne, there was a small frame, and in the frame was a stickman in work boots by a ladder. The photographer kept asking who drew it. The first dance that mattered to me wasn't the couples, it was the one after. The DJ said, "And now, the father of the bride." Nobody in that room needed it explained. She still has the letter. I still have the wallet, thinner now. So, before you raise a glass to every father in the room, be sure you know which one answered the phone at 2 in the morning. And if you have ever been the one they forgot to name, tell me about it in the comments. I read them all. Some letters deserve to be read out loud.